All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Sunday, and may God bless everybody in Jesus' name, in Yeshua's name. Even if you're not religious, I pray you and your family are blessed in many, many ways, as the Bitcoin price is right now forming what's known as a symmetrical triangle. This is known as a neutral pattern. However, in a bull trend, it's a bullish pattern. And as you can see, the take profit right here is set at $117,000 from the trade setup we gave in the Casper Crew VIP Discord from $86,000. Man, are we going to hit the target? Well, we've got a little bit of bearish news happening leading into the weekend, specifically and Atlantically, having to do with the United States and its perfect credit rating. We've just lost it. Sheesh. We've also got greed driving the US market right now. And as we know, the traditional markets do tend to affect the crypto markets, right? Isn't that what us crypto people all wanted? We wanted a decentralized peer-to-peer means of exchange that's inextricably linked to the traditional finance system through ETFs and futures and all this other kind of stuff. That's wait a second, that's not at all what we wanted, but here we are, trading the Bitcoin to make some more fiat dollars here. As you can see, we're up 15,000 USDT realized, $20,000 unrealized, and we're going to be talking about what we can expect leading into this week, because in my opinion, we're heading for some extreme volatility. And I say this for a multiplicity of reasons. Wow, what a word, multiplicity. Okay, now we got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Major shout out to Daniel. He says, Necesito 100 USD. Shout out to Gen X Crypto. A drop in credit rating is bullish, in my opinion. I feel that, bro. I feel that, man. I don't know if I'm smoking the bullish opium. I don't know if I'm just too close to this rubber chicken. I don't know what it is, man, but I'm feeling that bullishness too. Major shout out to Cyrus Grayson. Major shout out to the Dusty Hunt. Shout out to Epong TV. Shout out to Flippa Frank. Shout out to Psycho Van and Eddie and Freedom Man. Shout out to Gowd. Well, we got a super chat from Gowd. We got 2 units of currency from a currency I don't know, because us Americans don't know any other currency symbol besides the dollar. Shout out to my man, Mob. What is going on, Mob? And CPT. Bitcoin is power to the people. Power to the people. Man, what are those things in your hand, CPT? You guys see that? What is CPT holding there? They almost look like spiders, or sea urchins. What is that, CPT? Man, got me captivated by the profile picture. If that was a thumbnail, you know I'd be clicking that. Man, you know what you should do, CPT? You should make a video with that picture. And the title should be Scientists Discover New Fat Melting Substance or something. Man, you get a lot of views on that, I'll tell you. Alright, shout out to Duncan from Sydney. Shout out to Mito. Shout out to Peros. 1. Shout out to Crypto Deli. Pump it, baby. We're going to the Crypto Deli. Let me get a nice sandwich from the Crypto Deli, baby. Give me some nice bitcoins and cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, mustard, mayonnaise on a nice gluten, GMO, wheat, fluffy sandwich roll. Alright? Alright. Shout out to y'all. By the way, got to give a major shout out to the Casper Crew, jasoncaspertrading.com. Click the link to join the best community where we give the setups in advance, like this one from 86, like this one from 93. Also, BLOFIN, guys, offering 10% cash back, $1,000 future bonus. Plus multiple chances to win $100 without even depositing if you use my link. And we got to give a major shout out to Antarctic Exchange here. Antarctic Exchange. If you sign up using my link, you get 0% limit order fees, super VIP privileges, 0.15%, 0.015% market order. Absolutely amazing. Also, guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, check out the free trading course on YouTube. All right? It's half posted right here. We've got ourselves, as you can see, 9 out of 18 videos half posted. All right, if you want to learn how to trade for free, check it out, and you can tell it's legit. Because look, I've got myself the glasses on. All right, that's how you know it's legit, baby. All right, now we're gonna pop on over to TradingView. I'll be honest with you guys. All right, I'll give it to you straight. I am feeling bullish on Bitcoin. Major shout out to IShowU, BLOFIN. ANTARCTIC fees back being the same as the rest of the exchanges. No, man, you don't get fees back. All right, you get the fees off. You're paying 0 fees. All right, why $117,000 profit target? We'll talk about that too. Shout out to Niels, who's in the gym right now, curling in the squat rack. And a major shout out to my man HFG with the super chat. God bless you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that, man. All right. All right. When song? It depends on what the Bitcoin's going to do. Are we going to actually break out of this now? We're going to do a live breakout? A live breakout session? Now, here we go, baby. Bitcoin price. You know, so many people have had so many opinions on this pattern here. At first, people were saying it's a classic diamond reversal pattern. All right? If this is a diamond reversal pattern, it's a little bit askew. All right, it's a little bit askew now. Maybe, I don't know. I think it looks more like a symmetrical triangle right now. But one thing you could say is, like, if this is a diamond pattern, looks like we've broken the trend line here, honestly. It's like we've broken the trend line to the upside if it's a diamond pattern. Now, I'm not a big fan of a diamond pattern. But nonetheless, it's interesting that we're forming another bull flag in this run up that we've had since Wednesday, April 25th. You could even say Monday, April 7th, where we have this pattern of pump, range, pump, range, pump, range. And something that's interesting about all these ranges after the pump is how long they usually last. This one here, about 9 days. All right. This one here, about 13 days. All right. The one we're in right now, currently lasting about, it's our 10th day. What does that mean? We're getting to the place where historically these patterns break out. Now, what else do we know about the Bitcoin price action right now? We are, in fact, at the value area high of the range. And there's two things I want to point out about this. Number one, in my humble opinione, when you have a consolidation underneath a key resistance, that's super bullish. In my opinion, when you're coming to resistance and you're holding like this, I feel like that's bullish, all right? The second thing we need to understand about this is we have 13 more days. That's about half a month left. But we are currently printing a signal on market Cipher B, which historically speaking means 100% chance of more upside. Like 100% chance of more upside. I can't think of a time that we printed the green dot above the zero line in an uptrend that it didn't lead to more upside even in the next candle. Even if that next candle ended up being a big red candle, we still ended up with a big wick to the upside first. All right, like for example, and I don't have much data here on this chart because it's the Bitget chart, not like the all-time index. Look at this green dot. We got a big pump up. We closed the month above the previous high monthly close. And then even though this next candle began the bear market, when this candle opened, right, we still ended up with another 13, almost 14% move to the upside before the dump, right? So we have the green dot as it's printing. We get a big pump. This is a pattern that you can see happen all the time on the monthly. We get a big pump during the green dot printing. Then after it confirms, we get another little push to the upside. And then a lot of times we'll get a little bit of a dumperoni y queso. All right. So far the pattern's playing out perfectly. We also cannot forget, guys, that what's happening now is a little bit different than what happened on the last big green monthly candle here. Because what's happening right now is we are printing a very bullish divergence on the weekly. It's confirmed. We got bull divs on the weekly. We go to our 2-week time frame as well. We have a confirmed very bullish green dot. Our 5-day, our 4-day, our 3-day, they're all giving us confirmed uneven butt cheek pattern here on market Cipher B. A big, juicy left momentum wave, and a skinny, tiny little momentum wave. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying, right? We've got it right here on all these big time frames. So all this to say, a big bottom is in. A big bottom is in. A nice looking bottom is in. Something else that I want to point out here is I know people are saying, Jay, what about the top on the 3-day? What about the 2-day red dot? What about the daily red dot? I understand some people are saying this is a bearish divergence here. I understand that. To me, it's just such a slight bear div. The money flow is still getting thicker, but here's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on this money flow. This money flow here on the 2-day is getting closer to the blue. And for me, money flow on market Cipher B is the king indicator. It's the leading indicator that tells us what is coming in the future. When we look at the daily time frame, money flow thickening, VWAP curving to the upside. When we look at the 12-hour, even right now, how the money flow is staying thick and we're printing momentum above the 0 line. These are things that happen before another big push to the upside. And so therefore, even though we're at resistance, because of all the things I've just outlined, I'm actually leaning toward another big push to the upside. I am leaning towards a new all-time high. And the reason why is not just because of what's happening here at resistance, but it's also because of what's happened in this whole range, right? Bullish breakout, holding above value area low, showing us that the market wants to trade Bitcoin at higher prices. We had our opportunity for the market to say, you know what? We don't really want to trade Bitcoin at higher prices. We still want to keep it down here. The reason why we had an opportunity there is because we had the high volume of the range and we had the Fibonacci golden pocket, the 618 Fibonacci. All right. It's very important because you have to think to yourself, if the market sentiment on Bitcoin was bearish, the point of control of the range, the highest volume node, is fair price. So if anybody's feeling bearish on Bitcoin, and let's say they were buying here because they're so excited that Trump wins and Trump's the pro-crypto candidate, unlike the other, is what they said. That means if they're feeling like, whoa, I better get out of the market, they're gonna do it when they get the chance to sell back at fair price, right? But instead, we see bullishness. There was an opportunity, but then boom, we get another break to the upside, okay? The fact that the majority of the volume is below us right now, holding above 97,000, means, in my opinion, the probabilities are highest that we're gonna go for the highs again. Something else that I can't help but notice here is the fact that we have this, all right? You guys see this trend line right here that I'm drawing? You know what this is? These are stop losses, all right? These are people who shorted this. Basically, it's basically just a swing failure pattern of the high on the daily time frame, right? And I'm sure there are stop losses trailed above these highs. We have a high, we have a lower high, we have another lower high, just above this area. What that means is we could easily see, once we come above $105,000, a big push just to stop out everybody, at the very least, coming to $110,000, all right? So I'm still in that bullish camp based on all things considered. However, we do have some bearish news coming out this past Friday, right? Specifically, the whole US credit score thing or whatever. Now, I'm not typically one that puts a lot of stock in fundamentals. You know, I don't really trade fundamentals at all. I simply only trade the charts. But this is, objectively speaking, bearish news, and it's happening going into a weekend. So it seems that these big news events typically happen over weekends. And the fact that we are coming to the end of this range here, meaning just historically speaking, the breakout pump, breakout pump, breakout pump, this pattern now is going to break probably this week. And because it's a neutral pattern, we need to be prepared for both scenarios, upside and downside. Because if we're only expecting up only, well, that's a one-way ticket to Wreck City. And if we're only expecting down, well, that's also a one-way ticket to Wreck City. We have to be prepared for both scenarios. All right, so what would we be looking for here? Well, whenever you have a range forming over the weekend, like we do here, right? you typically want to look at this as an opportunity for simply just chopping people up, right? You want to look at this as an opportunity for chopping people up. I'm not the kind of person that likes to take a trade in the middle of a pattern like this. I'm actually the kind of person that likes to look for a fake out trade of the upside or a fake out trade of the downside, right? I have a feeling that if this week is actually going to be bearish, we will probably see a fake out of the highs, right? We'll probably make another high just to wreck everybody who's bullish and then drop the price, right? It will be like, this will be what the range kind of looks like, all right? Or if we have the market open up on Monday or Sunday or wherever it opens up, and we have people immediately being bearish because of the news, then we need to be prepared for basically a fake out to the downside and then a big push to the upside. Now, this is actually what I favor. This is what I favor. The reason why is because whenever you have like bearish news and people getting super bearish and entering short trades because of news, it typically means it's time to pump, all right? Also, in my opinion, the Bitcoin chart just looks so bullish on the high time frames that I am in buy the dip mode right now. I'm in buy the dip mode. So if we start to dump, all right, I would definitely be looking for a simple fake out, right? Coming back down towards or maybe just below $100,000 with bullish divergences and then looking for a move back up above 101K. In my opinion, if we see this happen, if the market opens up and we're super bearish immediately and we dump, right? And SPX gaps way to the downside or something, and Bitcoin just starts tanking like a wild lady in distress, running through the wilderness with a laundry basket on her head, I would definitely be looking for a scenario like this to play out. Secondly, I'm also now would be looking for a move back down to the $97,000 zone, because think about it. This used to be resistance. When you have a level of resistance on a chart and the price breaks out, what used to be the ceiling is now the floor. It's like levels on a house. We had this level of the house down here, right? This was our floor for quite some time. This is our floor all throughout the fall and the winter. Then it became our ceiling. Once you take the stairs up to the next floor, what used to be the ceiling is now the floor, right? Then we have our ceiling here at 97K. We break out. What used to be the ceiling is now the floor. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get a pullback to 97, but if we do, look at how beautiful of a level that is. We have the confluence right there. We have the high volume node. We have the old Fibonacci golden pocket resistance. But even now, if we pull a fib from this low to the high, you can see that we've got our local Fibonacci golden pocket right now as support, right? So there's a lot of confluence right there if we get some kind of scary move to the downside this week. But either way, I do expect that this range is going to be over this week. All right, we're coming to that time based on the pattern of pump range, pump range, pump range between 9 to 13 days. And so far it's been 10 days, right? Depending on how you want to count it here. If we count it from the 8th of May, yeah, it's been 9 days. So tomorrow will be 10 days. And so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's right around where we expect that move out of the range. Now, why do I have $117,000 as my target here for the long trade? Well, honestly, it's because I'm front running $120. And the reason why I'm front running $120 is because $120 is going to be a major psychological level. And you always want to front run psychological levels. All right. For example, I shorted this, and I even in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, I gave this setup of front running 100,000 because it's a psychological level. You always front run those levels. When Bitcoin came up to 99,776, everybody was waiting for that psychological $100,000 Bitcoin, right? But I knew the market maker wasn't going to let us have it that easy, right? Now, if we front run 120K, that's actually bullish. When you front run a key psychological level, that's actually bullish. That's bullish, right? It might take a while to get a new high, but that's still bullish in my opinion. because it means that, yes, that level is going to come. It's very rare that we'll just like top out at like 99.7 and not hit eventually that psychological number. Now, if we take a look at targets here, if we do break out of this range, right, and we get significant follow through, like here's something else. We're talking about this local range here, but we're also talking about a larger range, right? So ever since the bull market began back in 2023 in January, we have these big ranges that last, 8 months or so. This thing lasted 200 days. This one up here lasted about 200 days, give or take. The one we're currently in right now has lasted so far about 175 days. So we're getting to that time where we expect a big move out of this range. And when we break these big ranges, guys, that last months, there's going to be significant follow through. There's going to be it's not just going to be a little bit of a wick, in my opinion. It's going to have significant follow through. People are going to get bullish. People are going to buy the top. Money's going to come in, and people are going to push this thing up, right? You're going to have your people trying to short the high that are going to get wrecked, adding fuel to the fire to push it up more. You're going to have your FOMO top longers coming in saying we're going to $250,000. And when we take a look at pretty much like going all the way back to the bottom of the last few cycles, and we look at some trend-based fib targets here, we take it from the low to the high to the low. You can see that our major fib targets here are basically, the 1.272, it's $100,000. We've hit that. Our next target is about $120, the 1.618. So that's why I'm just front running that 1.618. And then of course we have the moonshot target of the 2-to-1, just front running $150,000. So right now for this cycle, my target 1 is going to be around 120. My target 2 is going to be around 150. And of course, look, all right, always expect less. And then when you get something more, you're happy, all right? I call it the Matt Beal technique. Shout out to my friend Matt Beal from high school, all right? He taught me this technique of expecting less and then being happy with more. All right, we got some more super chats in the house. Man, HFG with the super chats. God bless you, bro. He says this morning on Bitcoin, there was 1,800 ask that got filled. Wow, 1,800 Bitcoins? That's pretty wild. Guys, make sure to smash up the likes. We got about 1,000 people in the house. We only have about 100 likes. It's 10%. That's crazy. If everybody liked the video right now, we'd be giving away $1,000. That's all we ask is a little like, just a little like. So that is kind of where the Bitcoin price is heading now. What would cause me to be bearish here? What would cause me to change my mind? Well, I'll be honest with you guys, and I said this in previous streams, but given the bullishness of the monthly, the 2-week, the weekly, the 5-day, the 4-day, the 3-day, the 2-day, the 1-day, the only thing that would cause me to change my mind and say, you know what, Bitcoin's not going to hit a new high, is if we actually lose this. Now, I know this is crazy. In fact, some people won't be able to handle this. You know what's so funny, though? We were talking about the 70s ever since November 14th, and so many people said it could never happen. It will never happen, Jason, you're a fool. Okay, we came down to the 70s, all right? We have to understand as well that technically speaking, we are trading a sideways range here with our high around 105K and our low right now at around the low 70s. This is still our range. If this range takes longer to break out, we could even have another move where we hit these lows. Why do I say that? The reason I say that is because when we look at previous ranges, such as the last one we traded in 2024, we saw something quite similar. We had our range, We had our breakdown, it didn't last as long, and then we came up here and things looked very bullish. Things looked very bullish. Higher low, we made a slightly higher high. But we rejected from a key Fibonacci level, which is our Fibonacci 886 fib. All right, the 886 Fibonacci is a very deep retracement that gives us a low probability of a lower low, okay? Low probability of a lower low. We reject from the 886 fib, and we actually do make ourselves the lower low. In fact, we actually rejected from that 886 fib twice because we did it again from that second, you see that right there, the 886 fib? That is exactly where we are at right now. We're not just at the value area high, but we're also at the Fibonacci 886. And so if we reject from the 886, there's a low chance that we actually do put a lower low. Now I want you to notice something about this last range. Where did we come down to? Where was that lower low? It was actually touching, literally to the dollar, this January range high, okay? Now I want to point something out here. What did we not do on this last low? We did not touch that previous range high, okay? Something else we did here is we left behind a double bottom, which also on the TPO chart is a poor low. Basically what that means is this bottom looks like it's begging to get stop hunted, all right? If you don't know what a poor low is, it basically means this thing is begging to get stop hunted, all right? So in an extreme case where we see an extended range that goes into the summer and we don't get bullish again until the fall, and we see something like this, right? Because remember, that's pretty much what happened last year. May of last year, we had this move to the upside. It looked bullish. I was bullish. I was expecting new highs. All right. It looked bullish. Market structure was bullish. But the summer was bearish. And it basically ended up with a capitulation wick testing the last high at the end of the summer. It was actually August 4th. I remember the exact day. And then we got the move to the upside. All right. So if that pattern plays out again, and we have a bearish summer, right? And we just kind of grind down, we end up with like capitulation, then this is still something that we need to be aware of. I would not even be bearish unless we did something like this. We lose it and backtest it. The reason why I would not be bearish here is because we have to think to ourselves, what would market Cipher look like in that event? It would look bullish. It would look bullish. It would be giving us bullish divergences on the weekly time frame like this. All right? It would be giving us bullish divergences on the weekly time frame like this. These things take weeks and months to print. So we would have all summer for this bullish div to happen here, and we come back just back down to the low of the range. We tap into that support resistance flip and then get a big move to the upside, right? So in an extreme scenario, this is something that I'm still open for. And I personally, I'm going to stay with my conviction that the bull market is not over. And that we're going to hit new all-time highs. But in an extreme case, that is something that we do need to be aware of. All right? But I'm still going to be bullish. I'm still going to hodl my crypto, my altcoins, waiting for big moves. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, to be honest with you. I hope if we're going to get a pullback from this area, that we come down to, no lower than $97,000. Because the local line in the sand is $97K. The reason I say that is because if we lose $97,000, this is telling us the market is switching bearish. Okay, the sentiment of the market is switching bearish if we lose $97,000, because when the majority of the volume, the majority of the asset that exchanged hands is now above us, this is the market telling us that what used to be considered a fair price is now considered an expensive price, right? Just like right now I'm bullish because what the market used to consider fair price, now considering cheap price because we're hovering above it. And if we come back down to test that level again, we're testing to say, is the market going to consider this fair price, or is the market going to consider this cheap price? Because the market considers what used to be fair price, cheap price. People are going to buy that level. It's going to give us a bounce. So really, we're looking at these volume levels. They're helping us determine like what people are thinking as they're buying and selling Bitcoin. Because the chart doesn't lie. The volume doesn't lie when it's telling us what decisions are people making. Right? We could have news, we could have this, we could have YouTube, Twitter, all this. The volume is data that is not able to be manipulated by opinion. It's actually, what did people do? What decisions did people actually make? What decisions are people actually making in real time as we come to this level? It's the money that moves the market. It's not the news, it's not the Donald Trump, it's not the tariffs. Those might affect the decisions people make. But at the end of the day, the only thing that we really know for certain is the data on the chart. On the chart. Now make sure to like the stream. Alright, gotta give a major shout out to Amaru. It doesn't hurt to smash the like, guys. Don't hurt to smash the dang like. Don't hurt to smash. To smash the dang like. Now I gotta give a major reminder, guys. Right now, I do have a free trading course. Check it out. My YouTube channel playlists, free trading course. Alright? We got half the course up right now. From the beginning, check it out. Alright? Also, Antarctic exchange, 0% limit order fees, 0.01% market order fees. If you sign up using my link, you get the SVIP privileges. We also got BLOFIN offering 10% cash back, discounted fees if you use my link, multiple chances to win $100. Plus, you could even win a dang sack of cash, a travel fund. Alright, enough money to fill up your gas tank twice to drive somewhere down the road, maybe, to get some pizza. Also, guys, we got the Casper Crew VIP Discord, jasoncaspertrading.com, where we give the setups in advance with multiple instructors, multiple times a day. Make sure to check it out. Make sure to smash the dang likes as well, guys. Don't cost you nothing. All right. We got to shout out everybody in the chat. Indicator name, please. Market Cipher, man. Market Cipher. Shout out to Memory Man. He says technical is greater than fundamental. I agree. Shout out to OG Blockchain. In Yeshua's name, thank you. Well, in Yeshua's name, may the Lord bless you. Shout out to Devorat Hatavor, who says, thank you for the excellent content. Shout out to Pawan Verma. It's Market Cipher B, baby. Market Cipher B, baby. Shout out to Rad the Great. I think you're smart, Jason. Always learn something new. Well, one of my secret abilities is to convince people that I am smart. That's actually how I got my wife to date me. I pretended to be smart. Alright? What's the BGM? I'm not sure. What's the BGM? New CME Gap this weekend has been formed. Alright, let's check out the new CME Gap that's been formed this weekend here, guys. Alright, the CME market will open soon. We have a lot of gaps to the downside, which is quite interesting. We've got a few gaps to the downside, which is quite interesting. Shout out to Crypto Incognito. Shout out to Mr. Dugan. Shout out to J-Bone. Shout out to Luca. Shout out to Nee. Are we bullish right now? Well, just go watch the stream. I literally just took 39 minutes to discuss exactly how I'm feeling right now. Alright, but now we're going to look at this CME gap. We have a CME gap 104, 425. Alright. We've got these gaps still to the downside. Wait a second. This gap was filled. This gap was filled. But actually, interestingly enough, we do have a gap down at 92K. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so 104.4 is where the market closed. 104.4. And we are currently at 103. Okay, yeah, so it's not going to be a big CME gap. The CME gap will be basically this green line. Nothing too crazy. It's nothing too crazy. If we get a big dump before the market opens, right? Something like this, then we'll have a pretty significant gap. And, yeah, we'll have a pretty significant gap. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Ethereum in the same exact boat as the Bitcoin, man. I would be looking for the same exact things. Either a fake out of these lows or move back down to test 2,000. You know, just like Bitcoin, we're either looking for a fake out of lows or a move to back test 97,000. Alright. Alright, random macaroon 11 still waiting to fill the CME gap in the 30s. I know, right? I know. I know! Markets might open with a huge dump. Yep. Which is why I'm bullish. If the market's open with a huge dump, I'd be looking for a bounce, honestly. I would be looking for a bounce, to be honest with you. To be honest with you. Alright, guys, I gotta head out. God bless you all in Jesus' name. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all have a great week. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. Peace!